Oh yeah, going back over interview 4. This is my self-evaluation with my coworker Kelly. We'll start off with the pros. I think a pro I had that didn't show in the video was I attempted and I guess I can say I succeeded in a little part of it that I came up with questions more on the go, on the flow, as the with the flow of the interview. I didn't really. I mean, I had all my questions written down and I asked all my questions, but in between, I kind of improvised and some not improvised, but I kind of went with the flow of the interview, and I kind of asked questions that was related to what Kelly said. Um, I guess the second pro I had with that, going along with that, is the my questions. For some reason, I felt more comfortable about interviewing Kelly about her porcelain bear compared to interviewing Dara about her wedding ring in interview 3. I felt with the wedding ring, it's very one kind of feeling with the wedding ring. It's like that commitment and then all that, and it's very like I know what it means to her. I know what it means to Dar. But for this object, I found it easy to ask questions because I didn't really know what this bear meant to Kelly. So I think that was a little bit better, and I could I could kind of like pose my questions in a way that doesn't seem like I'm wasting Kelly's time because I really didn't know. Where when I was asking Dara questions, I felt like sometimes I was wasting her time because it's like really, really I have to tell you why. Or she was I could totally see her thinking like really I really have to tell you why this wedding ring is special to me, and it just I don't know, it felt better to know that I was asking questions to Kelly that she could probably like think about and be like, huh, I wonder why. I never really thought of why this bear was special to me. Another pro that I had was that I think I stayed relatively neutral. I know I slipped up in the middle and it just slipped just because I think I was getting way too comfortable with the interview and the situation. But I think generally I tried to stay as neutral as possible, even though I knew the person I was interviewing, and I think that was a difference too. I was trying to be comfortable, but not too comfortable since I knew who I was interviewing. Going to the cons, man. I after rewatching this, it was leading question after leading question. I felt like I was imposing myself on way too many of the questions, and I was coming up with I was I was assuming a lot of things that I really shouldn't have been assuming, and I should have thought of how to phrase my question more to open endedness and let her kind of come up with it. But some of the leading questions were so blatant, and I can't believe I didn't catch it when I was trying to say it. Um, The second con was first how I fell into a lot of pitfalls of the bad interviews. When I was watching myself in the interview, I was so unprofessional. Some of the things I was doing and like my facial expressions that I wasn't even aware of when I was interviewing, it was just very unprofessional in that situation. I think what didn't help, but I probably should have just asked some random person off the street or out of the building or the art building or something, a random person I didn't know to interview them. Because I think with Kelly, since I worked with her for so long at my job, I guess I grew a little bit comfortable talking to her, and that is totally not something I should have done, because I felt I was too comfortable at times during the interview, and then that it just slipped right out. It just slipped the unprofessionalism slipped out, and then all of that, and I guess I put that on her, and I don't think she could get a little bit more serious into the question making. So yeah, should have interviewed a stranger. And my third con was probably or could have probably been the, again, it was just putting myself and my own thoughts into the interview too much and not letting her guide the interview. I felt like I was very guiding the interview in a way and pushing it to where I wanted it to go, compared to just letting Kelly just talk and and just like be there for to meet to mitigate whatever she's saying. Probe wise, I think my probes were, it was all right. I mean, Kelly was very vague in her answers, and I think that was just her thinking it through, or not really knowing what to expect when I asked her to interview. Or I don't think she even thought of why this item was important to her, and it just came out very her answers came out very vague. And I think probing is a really excellent way to kind of just dig deeper into a conversation when somebody gives a vague answer, or just kind of trying to get more information out of that. I am terrible at weaves. When it comes to weaves, I am terrible. Like I cannot, when it comes down to it, I cannot think of a weave to save my life. It's, I don't know. I think when I brought up two weaves in the interview. One was about her relationship with her dad, that I kind of jotted down notes, but for some reason when I was asking the question, I wasn't able to read my notes about her relationship with her dad, that I it forced me to try and think of another question right off the top of my tongue, or the tip of my tongue. But then when I read it in my notes, then it just changed the question. It just changed the question right in the middle of it, and it was very bad. My second weave, I think I was a little bit more successful in that one. I really don't fully know if the difference between a weave is kind of a leading question, or a kind of an assumption. I guess I guess for me, that's still kind of confusing, that I still have to work on. I still have to try and vigilantly come up with. No, I have to come up with these kind of questions more on the fly, and kind of think faster and think more intuitively about what she's saying, and where I can go with the conversation, and what I can say after that. Overall, I don't think I did as well as I thought I should have done for this one. I do think it was a little because I was comfortable in this interview, and I went in with somebody that I knew, and I think that realization of that unprofessionalism, that like I can't see when it's happening, but when I watch it on video, like I can totally see how unprofessional it is, and how unprofessional I look when I'm talking to somebody that I know, and that we totally have a quote unquote unprofessional relationship, where in work we're just very lighthearted and we're all designers and all that. But it really, I should have separated my feelings and my emotions from the interview with Kelly, even though Kelly is my coworker. Besides that, I still need to try and come up with questions on the fly. I gotta work on that a little bit more. I gotta bust my butt and figure out what a weave is. Man, that is killing me. I'm trying to come up with ideas, trying to, even in my general speech patterns nowadays, when I'm talking to somebody, I kind of try and, even if it's not an interview, but if it's just regular talking, I try and think more, and maybe think of like a question or a weave that could possibly help me in that conversation. But it's just that active practice, and that actively trying to do something correct, and I just gotta learn that. Okay. That was my reflection for interview 4 with my coworker Kelly Norton.